Hey everybody, it's the Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. Also, people listening on the Fight Game Media free audio feed on Thursday morning. I want to thank you all as well. I feel like I've done nothing but watch wrestling since we last spoke.
Yes.
I've got my spreadsheet up here where I keep track of all my matches. And since Dynamite ended last week, so what was that? The last match was Mox, Claudio, and Wheeler against Joe Shibata and Hobbs. I have watched 124 wrestling matches since Dynamite ended last week. I watched from the collective. I watched Bloodsport. I watched the 2 WWE ID tournament shows, Joey Janela's Spring Break. I watched the Dragon Gate USA show. I watched the TNA live special from Vegas. I watched the regular show. I watched the ROH and Honor Club, SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, NXT Stand and Deliver, NXT TV show, WrestleMania both nights. And I feel like I'm forgetting a few things. It was just nonstop. And
then Raw and NXT this week I watched.
Yeah.
And then, and after each night of WrestleMania, I talked for over 2 hours.
That's
with
crazy.
Sean Ross Sapp. So yeah.
I won't say much about WrestleMania because it's an AEW show, but would you agree with me that if you took the main event of night 1 and combined it with the undercard of night 2, you'd have like an all-time great show?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I think there's a lot of we'll get to our stuff in a moment, but there's a lot of narrative out there that doesn't matter to anybody else. They made more money than they've ever made.
Yeah, and I don't think their fans were complaining. I think the people that were complaining are the people that are fans of other companies that check in on Mania every
the
year.
Critics, it's the people who, it's people above the age of 20 who follow stuff on the internet. That's
that's I mean it's like, there was only an hour and 38 minutes of actual
no, I wasn't even talking about that stuff. I just mean all the extracurricular activities of certain personalities in wrestling who are saying dumb stuff.
You know what? I don't even so I will say I wanted to talk about this. Because I watched everything, I was watching so much stuff, I couldn't possibly watch everything in real time. So I was behind. I didn't actually watch Mania. I think I finally finished it yesterday morning. So I went social media silent. I stayed out of the Discord. I stayed off Twitter. I pretty much stayed off Facebook. I was answering DMs, but I was spoiler free. So not only did I not know what was happening in the matches, I had no idea what was going on outside of all that.
Okay.
I had people texting me, and somebody texted me something, and it was like the top selling shirt in Vegas this week was finally The Rock has come back to Las Vegas. And I'm like, okay, great. He's a big star. I guess that's going to sell, because I had no idea he wasn't actually at the show, and I didn't know about the stuff today or yesterday that he said on the Pat McAfee show. I just watched the shows, and by the end of it, I've seen better Manias, but by the end of Raw, I kind of liked the direction that they're going with a lot of the stuff. So
Kings are on the power play. Just want to let everybody know.
Okay. All right. And they're up 1-0 in the series. And we got done AEW on time this week because they have a hockey game coming up.
Oh, it was so great, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then in 3 weeks we get a 4-hour show. Not sure what we're going to do that week. I feel like we're just going to recap Dynamite, and I'm going to tape Collision and watch it later. I can't sit through 4 hours and then talk for another 2. It's too much. It's too much.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe we'll tag in Kevin Ely and he'll get a partner.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of AEW news too. Well, I mentioned that. So they canceled a Collision that was supposed to happen the week of the next special. There was supposed to be a Collision in Wichita, and now it's going to be, I think it's Beach Blast is the show in Chicago on May 17th, I want to say. And it's going to be a 4-hour TV show. So they're going to do Dynamite and Collision, and they're going to air back to back. And then they're doing the same thing on June 4th and June 11th, if my dates are correct. So it's an experiment. They're going to see, will more people watch from 10 till midnight on Wednesday than will watch 8 to 10 on Saturday? That's the question. And it's hard to say. I don't know.
depends what's up against it.
Rampage, and if I recall correctly, the third hour died, and now we're talking about third and fourth hour. So, yeah. If they treat it like a big event, then maybe it'll do well. But I don't know what they're gonna do.
So it's gonna be a Wednesday in June. I think there'll still be NBA playoffs to switch to. That's the problem, I think.
Yeah, that is the problem. Yeah. I kind of agree. Matt says 2025 most he's enjoyed AEW week to week in the history of the company. There's been some pretty good things. R.I.P. to Mongo. Yeah, we should mention that. They didn't mention it tonight on the show, did they?
No, and I don't think they had to. Number
they
one,
didn't have to. I'm surprised they didn't.
Well, I'm surprised I'm not terribly surprised they didn't, because when he actually passed, it was like right when they were, getting ready for showtime.
Oh, okay.
I just thought maybe an hour or so beforehand.
Oh, you know what? Shivani wasn't on the mic either. So maybe if he was on the mic, they might have said something.
Right. No, he moved into hospice like this morning, and then he passed away this afternoon. I mean, so they didn't have a lot of time. I just watched one of his matches a couple weeks ago, which, interesting enough, him and he who shall not be named versus the Faces of Fear. And I
remember that.
It's weird. People in our generation, growing up as kids, at least American kids, loved that 85 Bears team. I mean, that was the ultimate in defense for any kid playing Pee-wee football, king score. I mean, like Mike Singletary, McMichael, Richard Dent, all those guys.
The Fridge, Jim McMahon.
Oh, but Fridge was on defense.
Oh, okay.
Everybody always remembers him playing running back that one play.
Yeah. No, I mean the Bears that translated up to here too. We had the Super Bowl shuffle that year, and what would they win 58-10 over the Patriots?
Oh yeah, they killed 48-10, I think. But yeah, no, and I liked Mongo's aura, and I think it's one of those things where if he had come in earlier in his life, he'd have been better. But I mean, he did look like he had two left feet out there, but he was also legit tough, so you could stiff him. I mean, he would have killed in All Japan.
And people forget that he was actually did WrestleMania the year before.
WrestleMania 2. Well, he also did WrestleMania 2.
Was he in WrestleMania 2? I didn't know that.
I thought he was, but no.
But he did WrestleMania 11.
Yeah, because he was part of LT's entourage.
Right, and that was the year before he joined Nitro. So
maybe he wasn't in 2. Maybe I'm misremembering. That's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it would have made sense if he was, but I if he was, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so R.I.P. to Mongo for sure. He was one of the commentators on Nitro, which aired on TNT.
Yeah, he was in the Battle Royal.
He was. Okay, there you go. Spiritual successor to or predecessor to the AEW Dynamite, because in the early days they claimed that.
that just might have been AI being incorrect. I don't see it.
We'll see. Somebody will correct us if we're wrong. But so they and then the other news from AEW-ish related was the ROH show that was supposed to be happening, I believe, a week from Friday. It was scheduled for Supercard of Honor. They say it was moved to July 11th, which technically is true, except there was already an ROH show scheduled for July 11th. So which was Death Before Dishonor. So basically they canceled the show. Right. Whichever, if you want to say they canceled Death, maybe they'll do Death Before Dishonor later in the year, who knows? But it is kind of weird because they haven't had a show since Final Battle. So there'll be like 7 months between shows. But whatever. It's I don't think it's a huge priority. The weekly shows lately have been nothing. Like there's 4 or 5 matches, and they're good matches. Like it's not what it used to be before. It's not like just random Dark Elevation matches. Like they actually have programs and stuff, but it's just like, it's 4 or 5 matches. The people, and this is something I noticed this week when this card came out, the people that you're not seeing on TV, and they have a roster of like 200 people, and everyone just assumes, oh yeah, they're probably on ROH every week. They're not. Like there's just people that have just vanished, and I assume they're going to be cut when their contracts are up, or whatever. But it's like they're running right now with a roster of like between Dynamite and Collision, like maybe like 60 people, and and then
they just added a women's pure title because God knows they need another title down there.
I knew. Yeah. Matt asks who's booking ROH these days. Paul White. I don't think it's Paul White. I think it's Chris Hero. That's the last time I heard. But no, Paul White. They brought him in as like a figurehead commissioner. He did like 2 shows, and you haven't seen him since.
Oh, so it was just like Stokely's run as figurehead commissioner.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Stokely.
Oh yeah, we will. What still lives rent free in my head is him having the picture of Danielle Camella, and that never came of anything.
Who had the picture?
When they did this hype video for Stokely taking over Ring of Honor in his office, and he's decorating it with different pictures of different people. For some reason, he hangs up a photo of Danielle Camella,
and that she used to be in NXT, right?
Yeah, she was Vanessa Bourne.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah. Right.
And then that never turned into anything.
We'll get to Big Stoke. I don't think I'm gonna diss him, but we'll see what happens when we get to it. Yeah. So when I went to do the preview for this show, I had no idea because I've been social media silent. I couldn't remember. The only thing I remembered was that they were doing the Owen Hart, tournament semifinals with, Statlander and Hayter. And other than that, I had no idea what was going to be on. They did 2,300 tickets tonight in New Orleans. Last year, on January, they did a Dynamite as well, and they did around the same, 2,230. So it's very slightly up this year. So that's good. Mm-hmm. But I looked at the card, and all they had announced was the Young Bucks against Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey, which I think they announced over the weekend because that sounded vaguely familiar because people were trying to come up with names for Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey as a team. And I thought Jet Speed would be a good name, but they didn't really give them a name. And then the other one was the what other matches was there tonight?
The tag team with Will Ospreay and
okay, so that was a late announcement.
Yeah.
So that was not scheduled.
The Bucks and that's
it. Like it was the Bucks. Oh, the Bucks and Kevin Knight and Will Ospreay, and then the women's match. And then right before I sat down to do the preview, they announced the Will Ospreay, Konosuke Takeshita, Will Ospreay and Brody King against Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander, which they called the Owen Hart Tournament All-Star match. Which, okay. 3 of the guys are out of the tournament already, but whatever. And then they announced something else later, like I think. Because there was another banger on this show. They had a lot of bangers. Hang on, I got the list.
Right Mark Briscoe.
Ricochet, Mark Briscoe. Yeah, Ricochet, Mark Briscoe. So that was announced last minute too, and they tied that one into the match that they had about a month ago where, the babyfaces won $400,000. And they said, this is stemming off of that. Ricochet was mad that he got screwed out of $400,000. So they're having a match. It's like, okay. So that was, a lot of bangers.
They even put it in the bugs or like in the chyrons, like during the introduction that they had won this $400,000. And it's like, and you had a great tweet about it. It's like, you know what? Show me that they won $400,000. Yes. Don't tell me that.
And they talked about it.
Yeah.
And they mentioned, and then people, when I tweeted, people were
I want to see him at Magic City. That's
apparently they actually did stuff on social media. Will Ospreay actually went to Disney World with his wife.
Okay,
or his girlfriend.
That cost about $100,000.
Almost. Apparently Kevin Knight did go to Magic
City. Magic City. Yes.
Yeah. And then Speedball did film a thing where he bought shoes.
Nice.
Nothing with Briscoe and his diversifying his portfolio.
So. Oh, come on. I wanted to see him in a suit go to Fidelity or something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I mean, a lot of bangers and people were really excited for the lineup and, and it's cool. It's like no stories or anything, but you know what? Like this is what you want, AEW. And if this is what you like, if you like great matches, and I tell you, for the second week in a row, these were almost like pay-per-view matches, like every one of them, really.
I liked the matches.
Yeah.
It just feels like the intensity doesn't rev up in them though. It feels like it goes back and forth, and then finally somebody wins a little bit. But I like them. It's
kind of did in the, I would say, in the tag team match.
It did for me in Ricochet and Briscoe too. I was like, this match is going a long time right now.
Yeah, it was the main event that kind of really didn't get there. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was a good match. It just wasn't great.
I didn't need it to be great. I just needed Jamie to win.
And then the other thing that was announced at some point, for some reason, Master P will appear.
Yes.
It's like, and we were tagged. It's like, oh, because you guys, you're
let's tag the old white men. Yes, that's what.
To be fair, I'm native, but people think I'm white.
Okay, that's fine.
Whatever. Yeah, let's tag them because they may not know who Master P is.
Are you kidding me?
No, he's a WCW legend.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was into his music a little bit too.
No Limit Soldiers, come on.
Yeah. So yeah, he was there. Big wrestling fan. Big. He was a basketball player too back in the day, right? Like he did. I think he got a tryout, or he was in the whatever the G League was called at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and his son was teammates with DeMar DeRozan out here at USC.
Yeah. So he kicked off the show with Tony Schiavone, and then he's out there, and the reason he's out there.
This was the most member berries, Master P. Just say the line of your one hit.
Yeah. I don't even remember it, but he comes out and he's make him say make him say
nah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he introduces the Ops, and so they come out, and Samoa Joe and Will Hobbs and Shibata. And Will Hobbs and Shibata were just there in the background. Joe was, he just did a promo, putting over Master P.
Joe's promos are always welcome. I don't care.
Yeah. Whatever. And he was great. And he kind of explained why he was there and why he's important to New Orleans. And
good on Master P for what he's doing with student athletes out there.
No, it was all great. And then they get cut off by the Death Riders. Well, their music. And Marina Shafir comes out, and so the camera's focused on her, and then the Ops get jumped from behind by the other three, Claudio, Wheeler, and John. And Moxley's got they all get kind of choked out, and then Moxley's in there with Master P, and he's staring him down. It looks like he's going to attack him, and then out of nowhere, Joe comes from behind and chokes out Mox. And then I'm like, okay, Marina's just standing on the outside. She's not doing anything. She's just watching this. And then they show, and Claudio is brawling with Shibata, and Wheeler is brawling with Hobbs, or maybe it's the other way around. I think it was Wheeler with Shibata and Claudio with Hobbs. But Wheeler's like, he's got the advantage on whoever he was brawling with. I think it was Shibata. Meanwhile, Mox is getting choked out. And he doesn't
look.
Stop all I know what he's doing and go help him.
All I know is Moxley wanted no part of knowing whether or not Master P still knew how to throw a working punch.
True, but he just thought it was odd that these guys were more focused on brawls that they were winning than actually trying to save Mox. It was just kind of weird. So who does Mox get saved by? But the Young Bucks and Kazuchika Okada. They hit the ring. They got chairs. And Master P gets out of there, and Moxley stumbles to his feet. Then he leaves with the Death Riders. So he leaves the Bucks in there. Then out comes Swerve. Swerve comes through the crowd, and of course he's got stuff going on with the Bucks. And then the Bucks are trying to back away from him. They're backing up off the ramp. And then Kenny Omega comes out, and now the Bucks got nowhere to go, so they take off through the crowd. And somewhere in here, Excalibur's talking about, and I just cringed. He talked about how the Ops and Swerve and Kenny, he referred to them as Team AEW.
Oh, God, not this again.
Oh, I don't get it. Just give them a name. They're all AEW. This isn't an invasion angle. You know what I mean? And freaking Bucks are EVPs.
So we flew in Mercedes, Kenny, and Okada just for a quick 15-second and Swerve for a 15-second, hey, we're still here. Cool.
Well, yeah, hey, at least they were on the show.
That's true.
I was surprised Mercedes didn't do commentary for the main event, but
I would have liked that.
Yeah, I was really surprised. But to be fair, like, it was a small part of the thing. Other than that, I really liked this angle. Like, it was really good, and it kind of all tied in together. And
although in fairness, Tony's pitch was, "Who wants to come to New Orleans for a night?" I think everybody would say yes.
I assume they're probably going to do like some sort of a match involving these teams on that 4-hour show in 3 weeks.
That might be Blood and Guts.
Yeah, but then they would have called it Blood and Guts, wouldn't they? And maybe one of those other, no, you know what? They gave names to those other shows too. The June 4th one is, I don't know, I can't remember the names, but they all got goofy names. So and maybe not the second one, maybe the June 11th one, maybe that could be Blood and Guts. If they started it like with a half hour left in Dynamite and carried it over into Collision, that might actually keep viewers if they did that. But anyways, yeah. So who knows? I assume we're probably going to get like an Anarchy in the Arena match as well, because they did book. I don't know if they announced it here. Well, Joe said he's gonna beat Jon Moxley's ass, choke him out, take back his title, and they announced later that Joe and Mox will be 2 weeks on Dynamite. So that is smart that they're actually building that up. And they've been building this match for a couple of weeks. We got a couple more weeks to build, and they're going to do a world title match. Should do a really good number. Right? Maybe sell some tickets too. I think is that show in Chicago? I want to say. I don't know. Can't keep track of where any of these shows are. And Omega and Strickland were there as well, and they all left. So they're kind of all a team, I guess. So we clearly got. I assume it's going to be the Bucks, Claudio, Wheeler, and Mox against the Ops, Omega, and Strickland. Right? I think that makes sense.
Unless you put Okada in there.
Oh yeah. And then who do you got to even up the sides? I don't know. Okada isn't smart enough to stay away from this shit. No, I guess you gotta want to have Okada.
Okada has a belt, so he
that's true. Well, no, you want to have Okada and Omega on opposite teams because they got a big match coming up. Yeah. Omega's got a title. I don't even think he had it with him. And you probably forgot because I don't think they identified him as the international champion.
No.
And we go backstage, and it's Renee Paquette with the Patriarchy, and he congratulated Nick Wayne. He won the ROH title on the live Collision last week, in case you missed it. And apparently a lot of people did. And they lied, by the way. They said that he was the youngest champion in the company. Well, I don't know if they said, on Collision, they said he was the youngest champion in company history. Here they said the youngest champion in the company, because Billy Starks was younger when she won the ROH women's TV title. I looked it up.
ROH doesn't count for AEW records.
Well, this was an ROH title that Nick Wayne won.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So yeah,
maybe maybe -1 counts for that 1 day, 1 hour.
So Christian was holding his belt. It should be pointed out here, and he said that after you won the belt, me and your mom celebrated all night. That was good, and she didn't seem to mind him talking about that. And then Nick Wayne gets in his face and says, "See, this is what happens when you stick to the plan. You win titles." And Christian kind of looks at him and took the belt. And he tried to take the belt back, but Christian wouldn't let him. And then he finally takes the belt off his shoulder, gives it to Nick, and he says, "I love my family," and walks away. And Nick was perplexed because he wasn't expecting that. So I don't know.
I like the segment though. I
don't know what they're doing, but I'm curious. I really don't know what they're doing.
It feels like one of those mind screw type things where he thinks it's like, oh, we think we've patched everything up, and eventually Christian takes it away from him, and then it's like.
Except you got to think the end game here is Christian turning face.
Yeah, right? So eventually it's going to be Kip and Nick turning on Christian at some point.
It'd be cool if Mama Wayne stayed with Christian. I'd like that. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd like it.
They might shoot an angle with Cope and Nick. Knowing the Cope character.
Yeah, maybe. Taz let us know that Hook was back in New York recovering, and eventually he'll be back. So
he'll turn when he comes back. That's most what likely. That means.
Yeah, he'll be jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Ricochet and Mark Briscoe, and they had a really strong match. A lot of fun, a lot of brawling. Ricochet basically running away from Briscoe and Briscoe chasing them through. They went into the crowd. They came back out. It was, Ricochet was spending time trash talking, but, getting his moves in every once in a while. And eventually, and this shocked me, Mark kept going for the Dre Jeller, and Ricochet kept avoiding it. And then at one point after avoiding it, he tried to get a pin with his foot on the ropes, and then Briscoe rolled him up and got the pin. And I was shocked. I was not expecting Ricochet to lose here, because it sure feels like he's getting pushed. But they actually did it. They did a WWE trope here, which was two guys costing each other matches to build to a feud between the two guys that just lost.
Yeah,
and then the guys that win don't really get anything out of it.
Yes, I agree with that. That's terrible.
But they're setting up a match that I want to see, and the match was great, and the other match was great too. So, and yeah, good for Briscoe. He's always losing. No one expected it, so that's good.
Well, I'll bring that up in a moment.
Okay.
Two things. Number one, I'm glad they addressed on commentary that while they are chanting "You are bald," that Mark Briscoe is also bald, but he has a little bit more stubble, and it's a choice for him.
Yeah. Okay. And what, you're trying to tell me that Ricochet doesn't shave his head? Come on.
Like Riccaboni, he stinks.
He does. He really
and
does.
Also, actually at the point I was going, I'm watching this match, I'm going, why is it going so long? When was the last time Mark Briscoe won a singles match on Dynamite? So I looked it up.
Oh. Jay Lethal on the Jay Briscoe Memorial match?
It was the first week of June 2024.
Okay. Who did he beat?
I don't remember, because I didn't look that hard. I just looked.
I bet you it might have been Jay Lethal.
I'll look it up. You rant.
So there was something else that he said here. Oh, he said that Ricochet. Oh no, you know what? It wouldn't have been, because this is my point actually. He mentioned that Mark Briscoe was primarily a tag team guy, which you may not know if you've only followed him in AEW, which shocked the hell out of me, because they never do this. And then Riccaboni said that he's a year into his singles career. Jay Briscoe died in January 2023. So
yes.
This is not Riccaboni's best night. But,
Mark Briscoe defeated Brian Cage in the AEW TNT title Forbidden Door qualifier.
Okay, there you go.
June 5th, 2024.
All right. Well, there you go. Big win. So he gets a win every year or so. No, it's good win for Briscoe. People weren't expecting it, but I mean, he's a guy that at any moment they could give like 3 or 4 straight wins to and put him in a title match. Like,
he should be a bigger face of this company. He goes out, he does the local media, and he's great at it because he's a nut.
Yep.
I mean, I understand that Tony wants to push his 4-star, 5-star special guys, but
well, and he's that too. Like, he never has a bad match.
No, he never has a bad match, but he's not. Yeah. As his brother once said, we ain't cosmetically pleasing.
Yeah. But I mean, he's got that Mick Foley thing going for him. So,
Matthew, I also do not appreciate the anti-bald propaganda.
Yeah.
We live in fear. We wear hats.
We should sick bears on them, Matt says.
We should sick bears on them.
Yeah. So it was a good match. And again, so after the match, and this kind of bugged me too, because this is something else that used to always happen in WWE. The guy gets the win and then immediately gets attacked and loses his heat. But that didn't actually happen, because Kevin Knight came out and foiled him. So he brings out the scissors, and I don't know what he was going to do, cut his beard.
Stab him, I think was the implication here.
Yeah, and then he gets the scissors. Kevin Knight gets the scissors away and runs. And Ricochet, as soon as Knight got the scissors, Ricochet bailed like he just got let out of prison. Like, he's just boom, he's gone.
Well, he did the weirdest stage run you've ever seen, because he wasn't really running full speed, but it was kind of like this over dramatic run that you see occasionally. It was. I mean, this was a complete playing to the back of the room type of thing where it's like Ricochet with the big eyes going, oh,
that's his WWE training right there.
Yes, it is.
And then they showed, and this was angle alert, they show Ricky and Robert in the crowd, and then they say, next up on Dynamite, we'll hear from FTR. It's like, oh, those poor guys. And sure enough, these guys, every time they show up, they get humiliated by FTR. And
no, they weren't humiliated by FTR last time. They were beat up by the Death Riders.
Oh yeah, but FTR was there and they didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, FTR got their ass beat.
That's
too.
True. You're right.
That's the thing that I don't look. I love this segment was for me because I like the angle building. I love this, but they never addressed that FTR got their ass beat for the Rock and Roll Express. That's what they should have. That's the reason they should have beat them up. To be honest with you, not because they like the Midnights better.
But every time the Rock and Roll Express shows up,
oh yes, they are there to die for our.
And they're it's gonna happen next week too, probably because they're in Virginia. So, so Tony Schiavone comes out and he's gonna introduce FTR, and who should come out but Stokely Hathaway? And it was like we have not seen Stokely since a year almost. I think it was the Willow Kris Statlander feud, right? They had that big match. And then he just vanished off the face of the planet.
And then something happened between Kris and Stokely, which is very interesting because Kris is on this show too.
Yeah.
Which meant she had to be in the same building as Stokely Hathaway.
Well,
And the implication is that since Kris was continued to be used and Stokely wasn't, so I'll just put the ellipsis right there. That's all I'll do.
So he comes out. Well, yeah, and then he points out you know what? This was veiled because he's talking about an unjust suspension that FTR got, and he could have been talking about himself. And then he says, that look at all these things other people do. Something he said got bleeped. I'm not sure what it was, but he brings up. Well, I think he brings up Swerve breaking into Hangman's house. He brings up Hangman burning down Swerve's house. He says there's a list of things that Jon Moxley's done. Ricochet shanking people with scissors. And none of these guys, nothing ever happens to them. And these guys, these guys threaten an announcer and accidentally touch someone. And they're suspended for a week and fined. And he says, don't worry about it. That's why I'm here. I'm going to get that suspension expunged from your record. I'm going to get you your 10 grand back. And FTR is happy with this. And I guess they got a new manager now. And
I'm here for this. I just want him to be angry Stoke and not wacky.
I wish he was wearing a suit instead of an orange jumpsuit that had big Stoke thing on it. Other than that, like, he's a great manager. He can do great serious heel promos when that's what he's there to do. He's got to cut out the comedy, especially with FTR. But this was good. I mean, again, I would address him differently. That's the only thing. So he is their agent now, not their manager. Because you got to have a different word for manager. So he tells Schiavone now, do your job. And so he points the mic at Wheeler.
And Schiavone goes, thank you, agent.
Yeah. Not even hiding his disgust. So Wheeler does a promo. And he basically says, you know what? Hey, Daniel, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. We were there for you. You asked us to stop beating on 2.0. We stopped. They weren't ready for a fight, so we whipped their ass. And when you asked us to stop, we did. And then you got in our way, so we had to take you out because for so long we've been putting you first. We helped get the TNT title. We let Cope go for the world title. Well, now it's us. And meanwhile, through all this, he's getting tremendous heat and he doesn't understand why. He's like, why are you booing us? And then Dax takes the mic and he says, we got a couple legends in the house, Rock and Roll Express. He points them out. He says, why don't you guys come in the ring? And I'm like, guys, don't get in the ring. You know what's going to happen if you get in the ring. And meanwhile, so he starts asking a bunch of questions and he won't let them answer. He's like, what was your favorite match? And so Dax answers for him and he says, I bet you it was Midnight Express in Philadelphia. And I'm sure if you admit it, you'd say that Midnight's were the better team. And then he's going to ask him something else. Morton grabs a mic away and he's, I'm done with this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then Hathaway shows them a new FTR shirt. And they said the shirt was from Morton. And the shirt says, Legend. What was it? The wording. It wasn't Legend Killer because that's Randy Orton. It was trying to see what it said here.
Oh, it said like something like Legends Die or something like that.
No. It had Legend Killer in it. Like it was that close. Like that's what I'm saying. Hang on.
All I know is maybe next week we get Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka finally, since they're still around. Although that might get heat with MVP.
Somebody in the chat help me what this shirt was called. But whatever it was, I thought it was way too close to Legend Killer, and they might get sued for it. So they may not be able to use this for very long.
Well, I'll see if I can find it on Pro Wrestling Tees. Give me a second.
So they eventually attacked Gibson, laid out Morton with a spike pile driver, and the Paragon made the save, which is the new name for the Undisputed Kingdom because apparently Mike Bennett and Matt Taven are just the Kingdom, and they're just in ROH now. So Cole, Strong, and O'Reilly are the Paragon, which is a bad name. And FTR and Hathaway left through the crowd. Do you find the shirt yet?
Well, I'm getting there now.
Okay.
This web page is slow and it's not on here.
Oh, well, it's a brand new shirt.
Right. Look, that match Saturday is going to be good. Kyle O'Reilly.
Living Legend Killers.
Living Legend Killers. Oh, so Larry
Zbyszko
has to die.
Yeah. And didn't Chris Jericho use that one too?
I don't. The Living Legend, Chris Jericho? Yeah, he might have.
Yeah.
You're correct on that one.
Yeah. I think Zbyszko wanted to sue him for it or something.
That sounds like Larry.
Yeah. Yeah. Living Legend Killers, though, maybe a little too close to Legend Killer.
Yeah. Well, yes, Bruno was the original Living Legend, and then Larry took it and trademarked it.
Yeah.
And especially after Bruno died, he kept the trademark. Yeah.
And then Jericho just was using it. Like he wasn't selling merchandise at the time. So
no.
I don't know. Yeah. But Living Legend Killers. The Dean finally. He
but Larry is look, I'm here if we can get a few more ex wrestlers on here. I'm fine with watching them get spike pile drivered. I thought that was fun. I mean, even bring in Tully for a thing and let him get spike pile driver too. I'm good with that.
Do you remember when Dynamite first started? And
yes,
they used to bring in the legends and they would treat them like royalty
with respect,
and they would make them look great. And then the narrative was, well, WWE, every time they bring in like Hacksaw Jim Duggan or Sergeant Slaughter or whatever, they humiliate them.
I'm going to cut you off because I bet you Ricky Morton had the time of his life doing this.
100%. He wouldn't keep coming back if he didn't. Everything I say about why do they keep doing this, that's all kayfabe. Obviously, the reason that they're doing it is because they get
paid and they get to be on TV.
Yes. And they get another 6 months of indie bookings out of it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, they were just on the cards.
I watched
in Vegas.
it. That was one of the shows I watched. Terrible.
How was the match?
It was
terrible.
Well, really? It was okay. So it was a senior scramble with Ricky Robert, Mike Jackson, George South, Damien 666. I think those are the competitors. And the loser of the match
wasn't Kurt Angle in one of these?
No. The loser of the match was Kerry Morton. Because he came in and why are these old fuckers in here? And he literally said that. I should be on this show, blah, blah, blah. And the 6 old fuckers combined to beat him up and pinned him. And the loser of the match is Kerry Morton, Ricky's son, by the way. So it was pretty bad, but it wasn't the worst match on the show because that was that Sabu travesty.
I thought they were on like a tag team with Kurt Angle for some reason.
Oh, maybe that might have been another one. This was the senior scramble on Joey Janela Spring Break. So it was. I mean, it was fine. The guy, Mike Jackson is freaking amazing. He's like
and he's like he's almost 80 and he's still doing this stuff.
And he looks good. Insane. Like I mean he looks old, but he looks good. Like he's in good shape for an old guy. So we're going to get FTR against Strong and O'Reilly at some point, which is great. Sounds like a Collision main event. Sounds like every Collision main event for the last 2 years, actually. Next we got an incredible match. Young Bucks against Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. One thing about this one, they put the graphic on the screen, and they had this in the graphic earlier too. They're calling him Speedball Bailey. I don't like that. Either Speedball Mike Bailey or Speedball Mike Bailey. For some reason, Speedball Bailey just doesn't work for me. Maybe it's because I'm not used to it. I don't know. But they had a great match, though. Just incredible. Young Bucks are the best, in my opinion. And they went all out. They just had a great match. And Knight is his incredible athleticism, and Bailey was just doing all his shit, and they went back and forth and just hit everything under the sun. Knight just gets this incredible height on like all his stuff, so it looks great. The Bucks were a great basis for everything they did, and then they just went nuts. There was right near the end of the match, the Bucks did a running Meltzer driver, and I think it was Excalibur said something like, "Oh, shout out to Uncle Dave." Or no, it was Riccaboni said that. And then Taz is like, "Who's Uncle Dave?" And that was good. And I think Excalibur told him to Google it or something. And then they get back in the ring. Knight dodged an EVP trigger. They hit a double Pele kick, spike DDT. But then Rick Knox turned his back, and Ricochet tripped up Knight. And then the Bucks hit an EVP trigger and won. So and they explained like Ricochet was out because he was mad at Knight for what he did earlier. So he came out and screwed Kevin Knight. But before that happened, I mean, they put this guy over like something huge. So I thought overall it was a job well done in getting these guys over. Our friend Brad, who I know he was watching the show last week and listening. I don't know if he's listening or watching today, but he pointed out in the Discord that one of the good things that Tony's doing is with these new signees, like he's really focusing on them and trying to get them over, which I think is smart. You know, like you've had almost every week since they debuted, like Speedball, Josh Alexander, Kevin Knight. They've been on every show, and I think that's smart.
This is a PWG party match. I liked it. The set pieces with the super kicks were fun. Yeah. I right now in the back of my head, I'm trying to get over that you're angry that they dropped the mic as opposed to keeping the nickname of a drug cocktail for
Well, no, because it's a Speedball kicks. That's what that.
So it has nothing to do with a mixture of cocaine and morphine. It's just the
no. I think he's straight edge.
Gotcha.
I think he's straight edge.
No, that's fine. You know, it's what the Bucks do. You know, the set pieces were fun. I didn't like the ending all that much. I kind of wanted to see Knight put over, to be honest with you, but I get why they didn't. But are they was this for the tag titles? Or no, they don't have them. The Hurt Syndicate has them.
No, there was 2 freaking awesome tag team matches on this show, and meanwhile the champions are in a talking segment about horse.
Yeah, but they still look like champions compared to these other guys.
Yeah.
They should have given Knight the win. I'm gonna say it. I know why they did this thing to set up Ricochet and whatnot, because I think Ricochet is going over in that match. So I think they should have given Knight the win here, but that's me.
We should have the Bucks against
I'm sorry, Curryhead. I don't mow my drugs.
We should have the Bucks now against the other team that won the tag team match. What was it? Josh Alexander and Takeshita. And then the winners get a tag team title match against the Hurt Syndicate.
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
It's not going to happen though. Too bad. But this was awesome. This would be best match on a lot of pay-per-views. Just a great match.
Yeah.
Then we got a backstage promo with Renee, Timeless Tony, and she's asking her about the match between Kris Statlander and Jamie Hayter.
Okay, so she's gonna be at the TCM festival. I need to look this up because I think that's here for the screening of The Empire Strikes Back. I'm kind of here for that.
So my wife was in the room, of course, during this promo for some reason, and when Tony told them that rip your tits off if you must, my wife turned around and she's like, "What did she just say?" I said, "Don't worry about it.
It's tomorrow with your life. In Hollywood. I may have to go to that. Okay.
They're talking about Empire Strikes Back. She says there's not an empire big enough to strike this back. I'm a lover and a fighter. But before I cuck around Hollywood this weekend and yank Ben Yankovic, I have an announcement. And attention, Slop Tarts. There will be a title eliminator performance this Saturday on Collision. And then Queen Aminata shows up and accepts the challenge. And Storm tells her we're going to make cinema. And Queen Aminata looked very confused.
All right. There's no way I'm getting into that because George Lucas is going to be there live. So all the nerds.
If Maria was talking about this segment, it wasn't for me. But if you liked it, good for you.
I actually will watch the match because I like Queen Aminata. I hope she gets to chop Tony's tits off, as Tony would say.
I'm going to watch anyways, but I'm so done with Tony Storm promos.
I'm a little done with the over to the topness. I kind of want her to act like a champ, but
it's over though, and I can't deny.
No, you can't deny it's over. It's like me watching Rock promos back during the Attitude Era.
So speaking of promos, we get a Hurt Syndicate promo, and they come out, and before they can get going, Bob Lashley is about to talk, and well, no, I guess MVP did a little bit of a promo. He said, "We're so good."
Let me pause here, for a second. My God, they look good in suits.
Oh yeah,
and the belts. They look like pro wrestlers here. This is what I want out of my professional wrestlers.
Absolutely. So MVP points out that every team that they beat has disappeared. And they, once we're done with them, they don't want any more. And he's right. Like every team they've beaten are gone. He points out the Gates of Agony, put up a fight, and they want to get Hurt, and he thinks they'll be back, but it's just not their time. So that was as close as he's ever going to come to putting anyone over. So he hands over the mic to Bobby, who is about to talk, and they show MJF pulling up in, I think it was a Mustang. I'm not
looked like a Corvette to me.
A Corvette. Okay. I thought I saw a horse on the front of it, but I could be wrong.
No, I think it had the wings of the Corvette.
Okay. So. I'm sure you're right. It was very low to the ground, whatever it was. And he tells somebody to keep an eye on the car, and he slaps him in the dick, calls him a douche.
Give him a little dick tap. I thought that was fun. Yeah.
Walks to the ring and tells the guys, I know you had a great time last week. You had the time of your lives. So we got to do another vote. Let's see if I'm going to get in. So MVP's like, my vote. I'm up. And then Shelton, he does the tease, and then he puts his thumb up. And then MJF's ecstatic. The crowd, I should point out, is chanting 3 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up. When Shelton put his thumb up, they loved it. And then Shelton says, hey, I didn't put my thumb up because of some broads and a watch. I put it up because of this guy.
I liked that. I think he should have just said, "No, I had fun last week. Thumbs up."
Yeah, but no, he says because of this guy Montel, and then MJF says, "Yeah, you like Montel. I like Montel. We all like Montel." And he says, "Then we like Bob too." And then now he wants Bob's vote. And before Bob he puts his thumb in the middle, and he says, "No, put it down, put it down." He says, "Not the thumb, your hand." And then he's like trying to convince him. So he says, what does he say here? He says, I've been a little prickly to you, but I want to say 2 words that I didn't think I'd ever say before. And then he does, I'm so. Yes. And I just know when I listen to the recap of this on Wrestling Observer Radio, I'm going to get a couple minutes about Dave talking about the Fonz. Because this is something that the Fonz used to do on Happy Days.
Yes.
He couldn't say, I'm sorry. So, and then the fans chanted, say you're sorry, say you're sorry. So they were really into this. I figured something out here. MJF keeps talking about what he can do for the Hurt business. And I'm wondering, what can he do? Well, you know what? They never have to defend their titles because if they're aligned with MJF, they're going to get to do 20-minute talking segments every week. Mm-hmm. So you'll be champions forever. You'll never have to wrestle. That should basically be his pitch.
Look, we already have a bunch of belts that aren't defended all that often.
Yeah.
Continental Championship, the International Championship. The
TNT title is on Collision.
TNT title is occasionally defended.
Yeah.
The Western States Heritage title. Yeah, all that.
So then Bobby puts his thumb out again. And he's about to let him know. And then MJF stops him again. and he said, "Hey, you see that car I drove in the arena? You give me a thumbs up, the car's yours." Someone in the crowd shouts out, "It's a rental." I laughed.
There is a dude who was making the hard mic like every time.
Yeah.
And while he was funny, he was also ruining the show in some ways.
In some ways. So Bobby, he says, "Show me the keys." And I guess he wasn't watching the promo earlier when MJF left the car running, and MJF says, "No, like it's back there. Come with me. Come with me." So they leave. And rather than follow them to the back, they cut to the announcers who basically just jibber jabbered for a couple minutes. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe we're just going to come back to these guys in like 15 minutes. But no, they went right to the back. And then they're back there and they're at the car. And then Bobby gets into the car and then MJ says, "Oh, you gotta give me a thumbs up if you want the car." And then Bobby's like, so he puts his thumb out. And then he sticks it down and peels off with the car, steals the car, and he left fast. Like,
well, he started to, and then it's like I think it might have been a stick, and he's not really trying to drive a stick. I don't know, but it started fast for about half a second, and then it stopped and lurched, and then he got it going, and it's like, 2-0 Kings.
Shit. Come on, Connor.
Shut up. I would love it if there was a little continuity here and that MJF placed an anonymous phone call for Grand Theft Auto. That's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a verbal contract. It was not honored. But I loved this. This is just wrestling. I mean, this and the FTR segment, I absolutely adored. These were the highlights of the show for me because that's what I watch weekly wrestling for. So I liked it. I think it's getting a little long in the tooth, though.
We're getting close. We're getting close to, I'm sure he's going to be.
It either has to be a turn or accepted. I don't know which, but it's.
Well, the thing is, at the beginning, they were worried that, okay, you can't have the MJF in this group because they're baby faces, which I always said, no, they're heels that people cheer. And that's basically what MJF is becoming too. So he fits right in with this group now.
Yeah.
Like they're all heels that the fans cheer. So they're going to destroy any baby face that they go up against. Like, and by destroy, I mean, they're going to kill their heat. But
exactly. I mean, there is no babyface team that is this hot that they can put them up against in any way, shape, or form.
No, I mean, if they go up against like Ospreay or something and
maybe
Kevin Knight or something, then they can. But I mean, they might as well just put them against heels. I mean, they kind of like, what are the Gates of Agony? I guess they're baby faces. I don't know.
No, they're heels still. I mean, you could put them up against like.
No, I think they're baby faces because Brian Cage dumped them when he joined the Callis family.
I think they are nondescript in there just to have big guys to go up against.
I think you might be right, and I think that's what Brian Cage is now too. Oh no, he's
injured. No, Brian Cage got injured. Yeah.
So then we go backstage for a Hangman promo, and you'll never guess who's interviewing Hangman. It's Renee Paquette once again.
Alicia Tout, right? No,
no, it's always Renee. And so he's just flying off the handle. Now he wants Kyle Fletcher. It's on site. I don't know if I missed something or forgot about something. I'm not sure exactly why he's so mad at Kyle Fletcher right now. There must have been an angle that I've forgotten, but it feels like
because he's next. I think that's the only reason. He's just a rage monkey.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. And before he can get too wound up, MJF wanders in, and they had another great segment, which I love what they're doing here. Like they're teasing something, and again, like some people like watch this and think we're gonna get this match like next week. Like I remember when they did this last time, Dave going off on like he assumed they're gonna do a match on the pay-per-view or something. It's like no, the way that they're doing this, like they're clearly setting something up for like a year from now. Like these guys are going to randomly bump into each other every once in a while. And they're, like, it's great. I love what they're doing. So he made fun of Paige's new haircut. He says it makes you look like you met your wife at a family reunion. So he's kind of got like a bit of a curly mullet.
Look, the brother went to Virginia Tech. We don't have to have to go that far down.
He looked kind of a little Kenny Powers ish. And And then Paige is just having nothing of it. And that's like, unless you got something of substance to, why don't you just get in your car? Oh yeah, you can't do that, can you?
Fernando has your answer, by the way.
Oh, okay. What was that? He got involved in one of his matches last week. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I forgot about it. 6 months. Okay. It might be 6 months. Might be a year. It's way down the road. 6 months.
Whatever it is, they're going to forget about it. They're going to bring it up about a year later. And
they're not going to forget about this.
Long-term storytelling.
This actually is long-term storytelling, Jeff.
Okay.
This is one of the examples of actual long-term storytelling.
I feel shame.
So MJF, he just laughed off the car thing, and he says, funny guy, you enter the Owen Hart tournament, but someone's going to stroll in the back door and end up becoming a 2-time world champion. And then MJF, Paige says, you don't know anything about the back door, and you couldn't hang with me in the ring, and you couldn't hang in the Owen. And MJF called him an idiot, says, you act high and mighty. And you beat me, sure, but now we're just 1-1. And if you fight again, I'm going to send you to the glue factory. Called him Seabiscuit. Oh, that's always funny.
I need to concentrate on the line. You don't know anything about the back door, but okay.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
He said, if you make it to the finals of the Owen, you're going to do what you've done best and choke. And MJF leaves, and Paige screamed at him. He says, I got something for you to choke on, dumbass. And it was good. Nice little segment.
He's just so angry.
Yeah. He's always angry. Angry Hangman. I guess it's better than millennial, despondent millennial.
No, but it's part of emo cowboy.
I guess. Yeah.
This is the opposite of being depressed all the time, as being angry, and you're still a burden on your friends. I'm sorry.
Other than the bangers, which I like more than you, this was my favorite thing on the show.
I liked this. This was good.
Yeah. This I really
actually, you know what? My favorite thing on the show is coming up, and it's just a little thing, but we'll go with it.
So next we got another banger, not quite as good as the first banger, but it was good. Will Ospreay and Brody King against Konosuke, Takeshita, and Josh Alexander. And somebody had pointed out, well, we know why Brody's here, and I actually thought it was going to be Josh Alexander, but no, it turned out to be Brody. That ended up taking the pin from a C4 from Josh Alexander. Will Ospreay,
but that goes into the theory that they're actually protecting the new guys, which is nice.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it was good because they put over Josh after beating him, which is good.
Which they needed to do,
and he hit his finisher, which is good. And Ospreay got involved with Lance Archer, which led to him being taken out before the finish, so he couldn't help Brody. And I assume that's going to set up something. I'd love to see. I was hoping they'd set up Lance. Well, Tony will just book it and claim it was stemming off of this match, but I want to see a Josh Alexander Will Ospreay singles match because they had a match last year that was like damn near match of the year. So I would be okay with that. But they had just a great match. Like it was. Like again, not nearly as good as the Ospreay to catch the singles match last week. It was a really good match. Everyone hit a million moves, and Alexander got the pin.
And they kind of protected Brody. They kind of protected Brody too, with like the.
Well, I mean, he was double teamed, because Ospreay was taken out, so that was fine.
Yeah, they just don't know what to do with Brody King right now, other than put him in matches.
Yeah, well, I think at some point he's going to churn. Which, I mean, he never really churned babyface in the first place. So,
yeah, but but he's a listless gimmick for the most part. It's this Hounds of the House of Black, mythos, Julia Hart, loose connection, but there's nothing to it really. I mean, it's just he comes out, he looks cool. I love his ring get up when he comes out and stuff, but it's just. And then he comes out and he has a good match. He's a big guy. Everybody's impressed that he does that for a big guy, and then he loses usually. So it's one of those things where it's like he's kind of stuck in creative limbo for me.
Yeah. I mean, he's just somebody there to have good matches when you need a good match, and occasionally, every once in a while, he gets a win to set up a title match that he's going to lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gets a win on Collision to set up a loss on Dynamite.
Yeah, pretty much. Or, and he's good for these tournaments as well because he can beat anybody and he can lose to anybody.
Yes. Let's get to the post match.
Yeah. So after the match, Ospreay tried to make the save, but he got chokeslammed by Archer. So I assume we're going to get that match probably next week. And then while Ospreay and King were both down, Kyle Fletcher saunters down the aisle, and he's about to get into it with Ospreay, but then Hangman's music hits, and he power walks to the ring, but he gets attacked from behind by Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero, who, if you miss Collision,
yes,
we saw the return of Trent Beretta, and we saw a Rocky Romero heel turn.
Yes, I wish they had said he had turned on Saturday's Collision, but they didn't. They never brought it up.
No, they just assumed that you knew.
But my favorite thing is the Callis family acting as a unit and putting the boots to some baby faces. It wasn't, just do a bunch of wrestling moves on a guy. No, they were kicking and stomping and punching, and me likey that a lot. Me likey the old school beatdown and whatnot. And then it leads to a brain buster, which should be a paralyzing move. And I like that they're actually kind of protecting it a little bit more than using it as a transition spot, as so many people are doing now. I loved this little segment. This was my favorite thing on the show, because I'd been talking to Tom Green about we were talking about the Callis family, and now there's something missing. I go, what's missing is they never act as a unit. Then here they are tonight acting as a unit. I like that.
Yeah, no, it was excellent. And I kind of, one thing I liked, and it was kind of continuous through this whole show, was just the idea of like baby faces banding together against heels who would have otherwise had the man advantage. Although in this case, the heels definitely had the man advantage, so they ended up over the baby faces.
Well, there was a nice little moment after this match where Takeshita puts his mouthpiece back into his trunks, goes in the ring, and gives Josh Alexander a fist bump. I kind of like that too. I like the camaraderie of jerks,
Yeah. And it was during this match that we found out about the Moxley Samoa Joe match. It says here, I'm reading someone else's notes. They said it was May 4th episode of Dynamite Beach Break. I thought it was like 2 weeks from now. Someone in the chat maybe can check, but I'm just going to Google this.
There's a beach breakout, or there's a spring breakout and a beach break. It's much like the fight for the fall.
So it is the beach break. It is May 14th. Okay, so I was wrong. My notes were wrong. So it's May 14th. I said 2 weeks. It's like 3 weeks away. And I believe this is the 4-hour show. So,
yes.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's smart. They're doing a match that they've been building for a while on that 4-hour show. So that was good. Then we get to our main event. And if you have been paying attention to this review, there hasn't been any women's matches yet. So it was the women's match. And honestly, like, this made sense to have this the main event because it's part of the Owen second week in a row. I believe. No, last week the Mercedes Athena match kicked off the show. So this was the main event. And this was a really good match. I thought not like maybe the weakest on the show, but like a lot of weeks, this maybe would have been the best match in the show. Definitely by AEW women's match standards. And I don't mean that pejoratively, because they've actually had some really good stuff lately. They had a good back and forth match. A relatively clean, a totally clean finish and definitive finish. The Hayter leveled her with a lariat and then hit her with the Haterade right after the lariat and just pinned her. And I was expecting a kick out, like the way some of these matches go, but they had a hard out. And because of NHL following Dynamite, they had no overrun. So, I think this match is actually going to do pretty well in the ratings because the last commercial break was like 10 minutes left in the show. So they should actually build a rating for this match. I hope so anyways. Because I'd like to see more of this. I don't like overruns. Surprise, surprise.
No, neither do I. But Jamie Hayter needs to be built up, and I thought this was good for her. I liked the ending. I liked that Stat, I think, threw out her legs on that last Haterade clothesline because it looked vicious and I loved it. Jamie Hayter needs her heat back, and it's one of those things where
could they do an upset at Double or Nothing?
They could, and it would be interesting.
You could have Athena. You could have Athena cost Mercedes the match, and then you do Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm at All In, and then you can do Mercedes Athena as well.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind it. It's one of those things. It's baffling to me how cold Jamie Hayter is.
Well, I would say she's heating up.
She's getting heat up, and that's nice. But it's just one of those things where, like, she was mad over when she got injured.
Yeah, but I think the problem was she came back and she had that feud with Saraya.
Yes,
that really slowed her down. And then
they didn't want to put her in anything because the top was already kind of full with the Mariah and Tony and Mina Shirakawa stuff and all that other.
And they also changed her look.
Yeah,
which didn't help. I don't like the hair, honestly. Like I
love the orange hair. I do.
Really?
I like it a lot. She
just kind of looks like a Timu Becky Lynch now.
Well, slow down. No, what I don't like is that they went hard into the 1 week Scooby-Doo costume thing on a promo, and that kind of killed the orange hair for her.
Well, and then they referenced it.
Yes, and that's and then she started wearing the plaid and just became kind of an ironic 70s gimmick. And I'm a fan of Hayter right now because Ricky Starks has left. The most banging theme in AEW, in my opinion, is that theme. I'm welcome, and she plays it up. She's great. Wow. I love her.
And if you notice, you brought up Ricky, so I'll mention this. When he first showed up in NXT, like whatever his music was the first week, it was like, this sucks.
And this sucks. Let's do a rip off of his AEW.
Well, so the second week they made it a little more like the AEW theme, and then the third week it might as well just be his AEW theme.
Yeah, well, he wants to do the arm thing like this, and to the
it's
thing.
So I mean, it might as well be the same theme now. Like it's so like such a ripoff, like you said.
Kuzmenko makes it 3-0. Thank you very much. There we go.
God,
yeah,
it's
baby.
As much of a ripoff as FTR's is of the Midnight Express.
Like yes, it is.
Yeah, it's that close. Or DDP's was of Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yes.
So that was it. And then after the match, Mercedes comes out. So the funny thing is I had commented on this that
this drag.
That Mercedes should have been doing commentary. And then
I agree.
Someone pointed out that, she's probably still in England because she did a match there on the weekend. And then she came out at the end here. So,
and they like $1 million as usual.
They did a stare down and that was that. So they're going to,
she did the CEO dance a little bit. And it played on and we're filling time to the point where somebody in the back said, screw it, put Jamie's music back on.
I should point out that during the main event, they started running down the Collision card, but they actually they aired the graphics in the corner, and they didn't even the announcers didn't even mention the matches. But we got a full card for Collision on the weekend. It's Playoff Palooza, which I think they're taping it tonight, right?
I think are in there.
Yeah, they're taping it tonight. So we got Swerve Strickland against Blake Christian. So Blake's new job is just to job to big stars.
Well, it's to have bangers.
Yeah.
Take it 70-30 and then lose.
That's not going to be happening with Swerve.
Maybe.
We got an ROH World Title match, Bandito against Dralistico.
Hey, how about that?
We got the Timeless Tony against Queen Aminata title eliminator match. FTR against Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. So they're doing that already.
That should be, but it's eventually to get to Adam Cole are involved in one of them. I think. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. Because then FTR would need a third. And I don't.
No, you're kind of right on that one. Yeah. No, that it is a little. Well, it's gonna probably end in a schmoz or something. Then
no doubt. Eventually, one of these teams is gonna win a title, and then they'll probably have a title match. And then we've also got the Crew against Top Flight in a tag team tornado match. The feud that will never end.
No.
And then for next week's Dynamite, all we got is Hangman against Kyle Fletcher in an Owen Hart match.
And then there's like a Ring of Honor match involving both of those teams too.
Is there?
I think. Yeah.
It could be. Could be
like an 8-man tag or something. Yeah.
Who would be dumb enough to tag with FTR?
No, not FTR. No, with Crew and Top Flight.
Oh yeah. I think it's Crew with Shane Taylor Promotions.
You're kind of hoping that Miro comes out and squashes all four.
He's got other things to do.
Oh, right I know. That's the joke. Yeah, Never mind.
Yeah. Rusev Day. I forgot it was Rusev Day until I watched on Monday.
Every day is Rusev Day.
It always sneaks up on me every year. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I didn't get you anything. I apologize.
That's okay. So yeah, Collision looks like it's gonna be good. It's playoff Palooza, so I think it happens like after the NHL or the NBA or something. I don't know. They didn't really they tell us it's gonna be after the game, but they don't tell us they don't give us a ballpark of when that might be. Like, what if I don't watch the NBA? How do I know when this show is gonna be on? I guess turn on TNT and wait for it. It'll start eventually. So yeah. That was the show. It was a good show. We got out of here early, which is good. I said I wouldn't mind being done by 10:30, and here we are, 10:30 my time. Yeah, I can get my pizza. 10:30 pizzas. This is why I don't stand up in the shot, and you see what 10:30 pizzas do to my physique. Jeff, got some plugs?
Oh, do I have plugs? Because as Paul sits here and suffers while Canadians lose his Stanley Cup once again, if you like pro wrestling talk, boy, did I do! I did 2 hours after each night of WrestleMania with Sean Ross Sapp. That's over on Fightful. Shake them ropes this week. I'm hoping not to talk that much about Mania and letting Nove talk about it, and I'll give you some of my thoughts on it as well. A lot of good, a lot of but a lot of good too. And then for Vader Club, he has selected Kenta Kobashi versus Steve Dr. Death Williams in 1994 from All Japan, which is a manly match. But
holy crap, yeah.
But any news or anything that drops, we'll be talking about it there, and we'll see what he thought of Mania and NXT Stand and Deliver, and all the other things that happened on WrestleMania weekend that should drop later this week on all your podcatchers.
And for me, I got really nothing to plug other than this. I'll be back next week. And we'll figure out what we're going to do on May 14th. We got a few weeks to figure that one out. So, as well, if we get up to $25 in super chats, we'll be doing another special show at some point. So we're at 20 right now. So somebody can put us over the edge. So
I think it's over the top. If we're over the edge, it means we're going crazy.
or we're doing a WWE pay-per-view. Which point I'm wearing the Owen Hart shirt. Over the edge. Look at that. Okay, so for Jeff Hawkins, I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show.